and then slight movements. So I activate the spot, and then I slightly move it. And you can see that's a very powerful. But one thing I really want to emphasize about this kind of work is not to just go through the motions. Okay, many people when they first start to learn this, oh, I did that, you know. But if you're not sensing what you're doing, you probably didn't do it properly, okay? So it's very important because it's not just about the physical tension, because you can't feel it as physical tension in here. It's an energetic blockage, which is underlying all physical tension, actually. But here, that's all you feel until you come to around here, in which case then you feel it as a physical band. And so when you're learning about whether what you're doing is effective or not, if you're not very energetically tuned in, you can come to this spot and feel the physical aspect of that tension. And I can feel how it's very tight on Dave, okay? Which is what we were suspecting, right? With all that jaw tension and everything. So my main thing is to work if I want to be as effective as I can in the amount of time I can, I'm working him at 9s. And that means me tuning into him, micro and macro. So tuning into the point, but also his breath. So I can increase that pressure slightly if I feel like he's not, to give him value for money, which is what you were talking about. Then, well, if he's not breathing deeply, then what he's saying is that I can handle a little bit more, right? And then I see he's saying to me, "Thank you, Brandon. That's near what I can handle," you know, in that polite Scottish manner, you know. And I can speak polite Scottish, you know. My accent's not that great, but I try, you know. Can you feel that, Dave? Is it a wee bit sore? Right? And that's about as good as my Scottish accent, yes. So. But, you know, mostly it's just, you're just talking without talking, okay? I'm just watching him, and I should be able to go, that's... And each time, he's actually just going to get more relaxed, because even though, this isn't, he's getting into...
mindfulness of this, and the fact you're in the moment,
right.
And you're on it.
Yep.
But then I worry for the person on the table if they're not understanding Raynor properly, and the fact that I'm spending so long on the arm.
Well, explain it to him before you do it.
It's all that, isn't it? It's the whole session of explaining absolutely everything.
That diagnosis, isn't it? Is that first consultation?
First consultation, hi, how are you going? Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Okay?
So I think I'm going to be going back to my
Right.
clients.
Yeah.
I think you're saying, giving them the introductory rate again for one more session to do a proper diagnosis.
Yeah.
So in a sense, this isn't a first treatment because I've treated Dave before, right? And Dave understands, you know? So I don't need to go through, which is kind of nice for me.
I've got people I reckon I can, definitely will be up for it.
And once they understand, then great, you don't need to keep it.
Exactly.
Don't over-explain when people already understand because you're wasting time.
Yeah.
Again, maximize, especially if you're wanting to charge what we call top dollar, which I guess you'd call top pound. I don't know what the expression is.
Yeah, top whack.
What is it?
Yeah.
Top right?
Whack.
Top whack. Whack. Okay. If you're wanting to charge top whack, then make it that the person feels that they're getting incredible value for money. Okay? Because I remember even years ago, one example I'll give is when I got this massage from the guy. He was pretty good at it, but then he started talking about the drum in the corner of the room of mine and how his drum was like that.
Oh, yeah.
And his complete awareness left what he was doing. And all I was thinking of for the 10 or 15 minutes he was talking about my drum is I couldn't give a fucking shit, and I'm paying you a lot of money for your time.
Yeah. I've been to someone who's answered a text.
Yeah, how rude, right?
I know, right?
Yeah.
I didn't go back.
Right. So I actually don't think getting involved, like if I'm just working on Dave without you guys, I wouldn't be chatting to him right now. I could, hopefully we've done our chat if we've caught up, but while he's doing this, I want him totally focused on his breathing.
Brandon, when you did his head, it seemed to me that you felt more tension on the left side of his body. Is that why you're working the right side first, or is that just arbitrary?
No, I felt tension on both sides.
Right.
In fact, slightly more on his right. Plus Dave felt more on his right.
Yeah.
And he specifically asked me and he's right-handed.
Okay.
You're right-handed, aren't you, Dave? Yeah. And he's a massage therapist, so I can totally
So it just
identify
went
with,
straight
with the messed up thumb on the right side because
So
I've had
I've
it.
heard in shiatsu, if you can release from both sides of the body, and sometimes you might start with a side that has less tension before
Yes.
you go into it.
Where I would start with a side of less tension is somebody who's really not got much of a pain threshold at all. And it's just, you work on the tight side, and as soon as you work on it, you're hitting their threshold.
Right.
And it's just kind of useless because you can't get anything done.
Yeah.
Whereas if you work on somewhere that's not so tight, you can get something done. So now I'm just gently working the side to side movement on this joint just to open it up a bit. And you can see he's enjoying that, but I'm easing it off. I don't want it to be too overwhelming, you know.
How far do you actually wiggle it, so to speak?
As much as it'll go, just taking it, you know.
Before you break it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the person and how much. See, now I pulled it and it clicked, right? So that's going to open it up a bit more. Now I'm going to come in and do this one. Again, this is one of the most sensitive spots on the body, so be very careful.
Is that the side of the finger?
I was going to ask, did you learn some of these techniques from
There. Oh, there.
Sorry?
Did you learn some of these techniques from the Gestapo?
Yeah, yeah. Past life, yeah. They were very effective, yeah. So again, you can see I'm only, if you see how much pressure I'm using, I'm mostly keeping the weight of the chopstick maybe 2 or 3 times the weight of the chopstick there. It's so sensitive. And then I'm wiggling it slightly and watching his breath. And then as he gets used to it, I'm going in a bit deeper, and you can see immediately I'm back up at a 9. And then moving that. And letting him catch his breath, okay? Because this has been quite intense. So I can see he has a couple of breaths worth just to catch up on. And this is where, again, I'm not doing anything, so yeah. But it won't work if you have too much of a backlog, right? So then I can come back in. And as you go higher, you end up doing more big range of side-to-side movements, okay? So then again, I'm going to start to feel that thumb, that joint, any trapped energy, and I might come in with my fingers and thumb. And you can see it's not just the chopstick, it's the fact that he's super tight in here. That's what's causing that. And then I'm going to just... Got a deep click in there.
About that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
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 I love it.
Yeah.
No, don't screw me.
Sometimes I've got to stop myself and go, yes!
Yeah. So I'm starting to feel like I'm making some good progress all over his thumb, like 20-30%, you know, not huge. And I know how charged he is here because I could feel it here. So I'm going to go into that spot and just hold that and move it slightly.
Yeah.
I'm picking up energy in my hand, so flicking it off and then just working it up slightly through here. Because this is obviously very tight, you know. And coming into here, it's very tight. So if I've got 20-30% out of here, I should be able to get then 20-30% out further down. Now finally I'm going to come into this spot, and I know it's sensitive and tight, so I'm just going to do it with a bit of awareness and watch his reaction. You can see there. So not too hard, and just hold that a little bit like that. And then let him breathe. And then just add another 5%, and you can see that's, you know, enough. So you can see his eyes start to...
Mine a lot. I've done
Okay, and then gently shaking it. So we're moving, holding, shaking, getting rid of, opening it up. So this is how I open up that thumb, is just to, and then I can twist it slightly and come right down into here. So right where the thumb and the finger join, that's the most powerful part. I actually think there's more than one pressure point in here, okay? Even though in
You can
Chinese...
feel lots of different tight spaces
That's right.
in there, I find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very important area. And it's a great area to get people to deep breathe, because in Chinese medicine, this is a lung meridian.
Are you using both thumb and finger pressure?
That's
there?
right. Otherwise, you're just pushing against it, it does nothing. You have to do thumb and finger, okay? And then you go. And then watch, and then hold and shake, and let him breathe out. Okay? Again, just gently stretching, rotating. Okay, so we made, you know, it's not loose, but we've made some progress. So I'm going to follow that up and get whatever I got out of his thumb, up both the inner and the outer thumb band. So again, just holding and moving.
And the pressure's coming from both sides?
Yep.
Finger as well as your thumb? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And not too heavy a pressure from my point of view, but it's, because it's so tight, it's probably going to be, you know, it's sore.
You're feeling up the band there, I guess. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I can hold, and you can see when he opens his mouth like that, you know. That's Scottish for you. Thank you. You found the spots, Brandon. You can see it's not even, it's so tight in there. And let him breathe. I don't want him tightening up against me. So I ease that pressure off to a point where he can handle that. How's that, Dave?
6.
6? Okay. And I want to feel, is it letting go or is it still anchored? Okay? Or maybe it's partially letting go and partially still anchored because I've only got, you know, 30% out of his thumb. So I'm not expecting 100% to let go, but I'm expecting some percent to let go up here, which will then provide some relief up here and provide relief into his neck. But we can see how he's very tight in there, but that's, you know, more the inner wristband. But I haven't done those fingers, so.
Would you go back down if it's not releasing up there?
Yeah. Or I might get, you know, keep the 30% if his thumb's too sore, you know, or too sensitive to work on, and then I might try and get more out of his fingers, because this is so tight here, right? Which is more from the other fingers, the middle ones. And again, just getting in there, seeing what we can get out. Because this whole, I feel like this whole thing needs a bit of work, you know? So I'm going to come back and I'll probably get that joint after I get this finger.